Welcome to another episode of Blockrevision. Alright, so today's episode will be kind of a supplement to yesterday's one, as we had some audio issues, so I decided to just rephrase some cases, but also update the news following today's date. So I'm very glad you decided to turn it on, and hopefully you will find something interesting to you. So in terms of first block of economy view is this Deutsche Bank's roller coaster. So we've seen on Friday that Deutsche Bank's share has been slumped by few percent, and that was the outcome of this whole chaotic turn of events related to banking scandal. So Deutsche Bank has really got us used to its problems, as it had in 2020 a kind of a large money laundering scandal. It was reported that a bank had processed more than 1.3 trillion in suspicious transactions between 1999 and 2017. Also, we had a very outstandingly high turnover of top executives, even despite the problems. Also, Deutsche Bank has been struggling to turn to a profit in recent years, and not mentioning the wave of a potential job cuts in late 2020 and 2022. So Deutsche Bank, what's about this time? As we've seen lately, banking system in either US or Europe has just showcased some cracks. Whether it's about the over leveraged structures, or over debted, or over derivatized, and many of those cracks are just resurfacing after this very, I wouldn't say the very, but outstandingly high interest rates from central banks just hit the economy. So many of those institutions has really adjusted to this very low era of easy money with zero or even negative interest rate level. But it couldn't last forever. We have maintaining that systems in any possible way. We're trying to just stave off the crisis, but now the things, as Mr. Warren Buffett says, just showing up that who was about to swim naked. And among them there was SVB, there is Deutsche Bank, and another bank was just mentioned about within a next slide. But what about Deutsche Bank? Deutsche Bank, even though it had some cracks right now, Mr. Chancellor Scholz says that it has been reorganized and modernized since latest problems, and we shouldn't have some issues with this in the future, and this recent price action is just irrational and based on sentiment, even though it might be right. Somewhere underneath, laying many cracks that may just try to cause much more turmoil in the long run. So by now, maybe those problems will be swept away into the carpet, but on the far-fetched type of insight, we cannot really fade away those problems and also roll over them forever. So yes, for now, Deutsche Bank maybe will go through this turmoil untouched, but I would say that you would be rather very cautious when storing or keeping your all savings into one bank. The bigger one is the lower chance it may eventually demise, but we would better diversify our portfolios. That's what I'm mentioning about very often. Also, another bank that also has been in troubles, First Republic, is one of the possible victims of this SVB scandal. The bank that was relying on very low interest rate policy throughout recent decade. So officials, in order to save and rescue another bank, decided to support that we provided to this bank with deposits and also other facilities. So it's right now unclear for us how much of these banking stresses are leading to a widespread credit crunch, but it will possibly slow down economy. And that is something that we will be monitoring very, very closely. And even though we may go through all of this right now, it doesn't gives us any certainty that these problems won't turn back to us with a vengeance. All right, what about market outlook? So let's find out how the indexes are going to perform in the nearest future with that given that the possible recession might be right around the corner. So right here you may find SPX and XPX right yesterday tried to correct this recent bullish tendency, and we cannot really negate this after Fed's candle. It means that we are more likely to go downwards rather than upwards from here, and the risk-reward ratio is very limited to the upside. I would say that after this rally, post-Fed rally of this leg, it's more likely that we'll go lower rather than higher. So that's the outlook for the nearest time. You may just turn on the line chart as I did in order to just erase some distraction, and the possible another very important level will be right at 38.5. So given all of this, right now it's more likely to go lower than higher, but you may also just put your point of view into the comments down below. All right, so we are jumping back to our slideshows, and the next is about crypto outlook, and that's the news that hit the area of cryptocurrencies today in the morning, and CFTC is suing Binance over trading violations. Is it about spoofing? Is it about another manipulation? We don't know yet. It hasn't been really specified exactly, and I wouldn't really stick around to what CFTC has to say. Better just watch the regulated market. The JP Morgan, one of the most renowned entity in the world in terms of banking system, also paying for spoofing consecutively almost every single year. They're paying for something that they do know it's a potential crime and it will be penalty for. So for me, it's just a kind of a ludicrous that the regulators are just trying to focus us on the problems underneath the crypto space, whereas the regulated one is really unsorted. So there is a question right now: what could it impact, and how can it affect the whole crypto space? So right now, in terms of Binance, we do know that Binance is extraterritorial. So even though it may just leave the US, it may perform somewhere else. But as we all do know, it's a cash cow. So it will be a really golden chain for possible future inflows for the government if such entities as the Binance will eventually leave the country. And I guess that won't happen. The government is not stupid to that extension. But it may lead eventually some companies or even some exchanges to perform in other manner. Just have a look at this. If we just jump over to the another article, DeFi exchange DiDEX 6-fold decentralization as scrutiny rises, and that what other companies may decide to turn to, as this centralization of many of platforms is the nagging problems of this so-called decentralized industry, as around 98% of crypto projects is run in centralized mode, whereas just around 3 or 4% of whole operations are going through decentralized mode. So it may spark some evolution inside of crypto, and if those crypto or platforms are not wanted to be acknowledged to be centralized one, they will need to turn away from its centralized type of operations. So right now we do know that Binance was about to eventually get the crackdown for its operation, but it's in my view a bit overblown, and those all of the threats that Binance may eventually turn down are really over exaggerated. So what about the next for the whole sector? I would expect that the market this year will be in a much of a shaky mode than it was back in any other, as those regulatory aspects will be nagging for many entities. So that's about it, and right now let's head on to one of the most important topic. It's a summarization of Arbitrum Airdrop, and this airdrop and listing has reached many exchanges around the globe. Right now, however, when studying the case of Arbitrum token, it's used purely for governance reason. Also, fees are not governed in Arbitrum token, so it means that there are not many incentives for Arbitrum shareholders to keep to the bags, but many of them anyway are believing and sticking with with those solutions and just looking bright into the future. So hence holding ARB tokens could be compared to owning shares in a company but with no access to the revenue streams. The only potential revenue is the token value accrual. In terms of the Arbitrum token, after the airdrop, we may find that this initial token allocation was at 12.75%, just dedicated to users in the community. So it's kind of a fair percentage by large. In terms of the entities that are holding the token right after the airdrop, we can find that there are around 90% of entities that already claimed Arbitrum, but still around 10% of them didn't do it. So I don't say it may have much of a supply effect on the price. I guess that majority of bags has been already offloaded, and that's why we shouldn't really care about this. Average allocation to users was around at 1,850. So average wallet just obtained $2,400. So it's absolutely fantastic for those that have used the protocols. It was a absolutely great award. So all one needed to do to be eligible was sending some funds to Arbitrum and making few transactions. The minimum was the minimum of reward coming out of airdrop was at $800, whereas the largest one at around 13k. So it looks like the airdrop era is getting back with possible return of a bull to the crypto space. In terms of Arbitrum TVL, we can find that many people thought Arbitrum TVL would fall off a cliff after the airdrop, but rather surprisingly it keeps on rising, and it means that the faith into the ecosystem is still stable. In terms of this listing process, look at this price action. At first minutes we had a pure degeneracy, and there was no perps and withdrawals, given the purest form of trading with no HFT guys, thus giving us pure degen price moves, great irrationality, information asymmetry, widespreads, a liquid order book, big market impacts gave us a beautiful move to 10 bucks. So this psychologically important threshold been achieved, but right after we've just seen a massive dump to the levels of around 1.27, and right now it's around 1.15 on many of exchanges. So right here, with given that evaluation, Arbitrum token, if it had capitalization of Optimism, another second layer solution on Ethereum, it would reach $1. So it looks like it may drop even further, as by many this Arbitrum and Optimism solutions are evenly treated, but this competition will be very interesting to watch anyway. So we are waiting definitely another airdrops, and when having any insight in what may become next, whether it's ZK layers or another important airdrop, I will get you informed, but possibly this year might be favoring this positive profits coming out of this type of crypto branch. In terms of market movers, let's find out what's on this week, and we are jumping to economic calendar. And for Monday we have had a business climate out of Germany. It's around 93.3, so it is rising, so it's positive for German DAX. In terms of Tuesday, we are awaiting CB consumer confidence. On Wednesday we have GfK consumer confidence out of Germany, inflation rate also of this country, and on Friday we have very important inflation rate from France following European Union, and core PCE price index. So the market is awaiting Friday with the possible higher moves on the event. In terms of earnings calendar, just find out we have yesterday had BioNTech that surprised to the upside, so it's healthcare and biotechnology companies are rising. Carnival Corporation also was the one that grown, and Micron Technology is the one to watch today out of the tech sector that may push the whole index up or down within this trading session. Alright, so at the end we have, as always, trade idea. So what's up right there, as I've just mentioned, I'm just leaning towards a Nasdaq, as it's the one of the indexes that has recently resembled very nice volatility. So you can find right here that US 100 is right now leaning toward this level of 12.55, and given this, we can find that US 100 should revert from that area and just move back towards 12.70. But given all of this, we need some time in order to find out whether this rebound will be somewhat crucial to the further price action. So we are awaiting for any type of reversal right here. I would expect that as we hadn't retested that highs, I would erase that path that I've just drawn earlier, and I do expect, as we haven't tested those highs and those, we would have a price action given out that we may just rise to 12.73.8 before eventual turn back to this lowering tendency. So if you ask me, the possible next for this index is the type of behavior, and given this very low RSI level, we may rebound possibly very quickly. Always remember about stop losses, about alerts that may just make you aware and will help you managing the position, and just stay cautious when trading, and don't overvalue your abilities and leverage as well. So that's it in today's episode. Thank you very much for watching, and see you back on tomorrow's 8:45 a.m. East session. Thank you. Bye bye.